is your song from me?
Hello, my name is Alberto Doest. I am the author of the Universal Voice Guide and the owner of the Universal Voice Institute in Amsterdam. Many singers, choir conductors and or speech therapists have asked me to make a movie about the spreading of aerosols during singing and speaking. So for anyone who uses his voice, singers, actors, choir conductors, presenters, teachers, I will try to explain in this movie what happens with your breath and the aerosols. Be aware, and this is very important, in these examples that I show, I will only refer to aerosols, not the bigger droplets which we have from our articulation. Who am I? Well, I am a singer, a vocal coach and a researcher. I've done research for more than 20 years to find out what is happening inside our system when we sing or speak. I have used video endoscopy, high-speed video imaging, electromyography and electroglottography for my research. It is my aim to present the outcome of this work in the most simple and understandable, comprehensive way so singers, voice teachers and speech therapists can use this information to their and everyone's benefit. Today I will show you a couple of ways of voice use in which I use vaporizer smoke to show you what is happening when you are breathing out. I will demonstrate what happens with the aerosols in resting, speaking, whispering, yelling, singing or doing sport. I repeat these demonstrations with mouth masks to demonstrate the effects when we are using them. Please don't do this at home. Don't use this vaporizer smoke because it irritates the mucosal layer inside of your vocal folds. Alright, at first, what happens in the resting situation? The situation where you are listening, for example, to this video. In this situation, your way of breathing or breathing type is called resting breathing. In this type of breathing, you will breathe in and out approximately 12 times a minute. And with every breath, you use around a half a liter of air, which is 6 liters a minute. So this is called your breath volume. Well, this 6 liters of air is the same amount as 6 packages of milk. For your comprehension, a telephone booth is likely 2.5 meters long by 1 square meter, which means 2.5 cubic meters area, or better said, 2,500 liters of air. It will cost you, in rest breathing, 460 minutes, more than 6 hours to fill this telephone booth complete with your air and aerosols. But what is the traveling distance of your breath? Well, to make this visible, I'm standing here in front of a wall where there is a line for every 50 centimeters, so we will be able to see what the horizontal movement of my breath will be. Okay, then let's see what happens when we are breathing in rest breathing. You did see that in rest, the breath will travel around 50 centimeters to 1 meter. And after that, it dissolves in all possible directions, and your aerosols will do too. Well, maybe then it's wise to look at what is happening when we are coughing with our breath. In coughing, it is easy for your breath to reach 1.5 meters. This is because for coughing, there is a huge buildup of subglottal pressure. That's the breath pressure under your vocal folds. So you are able to blow away mucus from the inside of your lungs with a big explosion. So this air coming out of your lungs has a huge breath flow. So this type of breathing that you are using for coughing is called performance breathing. Performance breathing, you will use more muscles than usual for your breathing, and you will do something different than resting or speaking. By the way, this vaporizer smoke was horrible to experience when I was coughing. Don't do this at home. So what will we see when we are speaking, whispering, yelling, or singing? All these forms of voice use have their own balance in breath flow and breath pressure and their own breathing type. First, we start with speaking. In speaking, we use speech breathing, and our use of air, our breath volume is about 12 to 16 liters a minute by constant speaking. This is like a speech of a prime minister or president. It will take approximately 166 minutes before this telephone booth has been filled with your air, more than 2.5 hours. Well, let's look at the traveling distance of the breath during speaking.
Goedenavond. Het coronavirus houdt ons land in de greep. Ons en de rest van de wereld. Samen staan we voor een opgave van enorme omvang. Samen komen we deze moeilijke periode te boven. Let een beetje op elkaar. I'm your private dancer, dancer for money. Do what you want me to do. I'm your private dancer, dancer for money. Any your music will do.
You just saw that when we speak, your breath has a traveling distance of around 50 centimeters. When we are speaking, there is less breath flow and more breath pressure, so your breath is more or less withheld and not traveling so far. After the 50 centimeters, the breath and your aerosols will dissolve quickly in the air. Well, this speech breathing is used, for example, in pop repertoire, cabaret songs, folk songs, and rap. Let's then look at whispering. Well, some people suggest you shouldn't shout, but whisper, because that might be less dangerous for spreading aerosols and virus. Well, first, the frequency of breathing goes up for whispering, and you need more air, so your breath volume will be around 33 liters a minute. It's a performance breathing type. For filling up the telephone booth when whispering, we need approximately 75 minutes. Let's look at the traveling distance of breath when we are whispering.
Kampioen, kampioen. Olé, 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 olé. My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart.
You saw that the traveling distance of the air will be more than 1 meter before the air and the aerosols will dissolve. Whispering has the highest breath flow and the lowest or even no breath pressure under your vocal folds. Jazz repertoire, soft pop, whisper repertoire or nursery songs will make use of this kind of performance breathing. Maybe you become curious what's happening when you are yelling, shouting. The breathing frequency is about 6 to 8 times a minute. By yelling or belting, we use speech performance breathing. That means you use the same amount of air as in speech, but you will sustain it for a longer time to perform with it. In this breathing type, we use more or less 10 to 14 liters a minute. You use less breath flow and more breath pressure when you are yelling. The breath flow will be more held back by the vocal folds. It will take more than 2.5 hours yelling before you fill up a telephone booth. But maybe you think that the aerosols will travel further because a loud sound is heard very far away. Well, let's look at the next demonstration.
Kampioen! Goal! Goal! Yeah! 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 And I will always love you.
You could see that when yelling or belting, the breath hardly flows away and will dissolve directly around your face. You will be the only one surrounded by your own aerosols. You will find this way of speech performance breathing in loud pop, rock, gospel and musicals. What about classical singing? It will depend on the kind of song or aria you're singing. In this video we will take an average breath volume of around 12 to 18 liters a minute. Just a bit more than speaking. We take in more air when breathing in, but we spare the air over the long melody lines. Again, a performance breathing. Well, you try to sing with a low breath flow, and it is also known as inhalare la voce, what means you sing as if you are breathing in. Our telephone booth will be filled with your sung air in a little bit more than 2 hours. What happens with the traveling distance of your breath?
Ave Maria. Ave Maria.
You did see that in this kind of performance breathing during classical singing, the traveling distance of the air was small. There's a kind of constant stream of air, but it doesn't get further than 50 centimeters. Well, the more trained ways of singing, like classical singing, opera, lieder or musical, use this way of performance breathing. At last, I want to show you what is happening when we are doing sport, like doing a cycling class or kickboxing class. The breathing frequency per minute will go to approximately 20 to 25 times. And this will be done in performance breathing, where you use approximately 3 liters every breath cycle. So in total, around 60 to 75 liters a minute. What is happening with the traveling distance when doing high intensity sport? Here you saw that when doing sport, the traveling distance will be more than 1.5 meters with around 3 liters of air every breath cycle. And the air will be more blown in a certain direction. So when we resume these results of the demonstrations, we can see that the quantity per minute and traveling distance of air are very different in certain situations. In resting, there is the least quantity of liters, breath volume, per minute, around 6 liters, and the traveling distance of the air is around 1 meter. When speaking, there is a quantity of around 12 to 16 liters breath volume per minute, with approximately 50 centimeter traveling distance. When whispering, there is a quantity of around 33 liters breath volume per minute, with approximately 1.5 meter traveling distance. When shouting or yelling, there is around 10 to 14 liters breath volume per minute, with less than 50 centimeter traveling distance. With a more classical kind of singing, there will approximately be 12 to 18 liters breath volume a minute, with around 50 centimeters traveling distance of the air. At sports, there is the highest quantity breath volume until around 75 liters a minute, and the biggest traveling distance to around 1.5 meters. Yeah. As I promised at the beginning of this movie, I will repeat these tasks by using a mouth mask. I will repeat this task with a very normal, simple mouth mask and with a plastic mouth mask, and show you what is happening to the breath and aerosols when wearing a mask.
Goedenavond. Het coronavirus houdt ons land in de greep. Ons en de rest van de wereld. I'm your private dancer, dancer for money. Do what you want me to do. Yeah, kampioentje. My funny Valentine. Go! Go! And I will always love you. Ave Maria. Goedenavond. Het coronavirus houdt ons land in de greep. Ons en de rest van de wereld. Samen staan we voor een opgave van enorme omvang. I'm your private dancer, dancer for money. Do what you want me to do. My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine. Go! And I will always love you. Ave
What you could see is that with using a normal daily mouth mask, the breath and aerosols will stay around yourself and do not travel to a direction in front of you. The same happened with the plastic mask, where the breath will as well not travel in the direction in front of you. The plastic mask has a benefit for singers because your sound is less muffled or muted. Your sound is more vibrant, with more energy in higher overtones or partials. I hope that everyone who uses his or her voice or work with voices did get a clearer view on what is happening to the breath at different manners of voice use, or during sport, or even resting. If I may give an advice, pretend as if you are contaminated, infected with the virus for the coming months. Use a mouth mask, wash your hands every moment that this is possible. Don't touch each other directly or indirectly when not necessary, and keep a distance. Please stay healthy, and I hope that we will look after each other and help each other so we can overcome this current uncertain situation. Thank you for watching and your attention.
Is your song from me?